boy, Sanford and Son. You don't need one of those guys in the neighborhood. Fred Sanford telling jokes? Sure. I'm talking about the neighbor that has the yard that looks like Sanford and Son. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. An absolutely gorgeous day in Metro New Orleans. 68 degrees. Just really nice outside. Beautiful, gorgeous, tough to beat. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. I love it. I love getting these guys on the program, by the way. Wait, here's Drew Brees. He's right. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. I love getting these guys on this program. My pleasure. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quinn Hillyer joins us. How are you, Quinn?
I'm doing fine, thanks. How about you?
Doing well, man. You can always find Quinn online, by the way. Quinn Hillyer, one N with Quinn. Hillyer spelled Hillyer, QuinnHillyer.com. Ellis Henican's with us. How are you, Ellis?
I'm good. Was that King Drew Brees of the Washington Mardi Gras? That Drew Brees?
That guy. I think he played some quarterback for the Saints a few seasons.
Apparently, he's just hanging out with a crown on his head these days.
Yep, he's the king of New Orleans. I think he's opening up yet another thing he's a part of, some sliders like a Crystal Burger type thing.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he's everywhere.
Well, let me jump in and say I want him to be mayor of New Orleans. I think that's what we need.
Well, I'll tell you what, normally I'd be like, that's absolutely insane. Like just, sports figures or entertainers. Who's next? Madonna for mayor? Governor. But in this case, you're absolutely right, Quinn. He would just come in, knows he doesn't know politics, would want to be great at it, would hire the best people in key positions under him, and would cut a bunch of the red tape and bureaucracy. He definitely would move the needle. I think that would be safe to say.
Well, not only that, but 15 years ago, Sports Illustrated did a big piece about this, how in the wake of Katrina, he was calling monthly meetings of business leaders to figure out ways to leverage business activity to help New Orleans recover. This is not something where he's just some sports figure. He's already been deeply involved for years in making New Orleans a better place, not just with all the good things that a lot of his teammates did, by going to volunteer here or there, but at a high level executive way. So I'm going to start pushing this idea.
Well, I like that. There's only one little problem, Quinn. He's got to move back to New Orleans, right?
Well, he's still got a condo there. Or a big,
I guess.
He's got a four seasons condo. I don't know where he spends more time, Ellis, the La Jolla compound or there.
I think he's out west most of the time, isn't he?
It doesn't matter. He can move back and he'll qualify to vote in probably a week. I don't remember exactly what the laws are, but anyway, he's got time. We've got another year and a half or 2 years, so he can reestablish residency, and I think we should kidnap him, bring him back here, and make him run.
All right.
Ellis, I have no idea. I'm assuming he's probably got multiple homes. It would be hard to pinpoint him down to one. He probably, I go to a lot of my houses. I'm a New Orleans resident, though.
That may be right. I believe he's got the condo at the foot of Canal Street, and sold the house uptown, and is mostly living in San Diego, I believe. But who knows? Who knows? Hey,
we've got an absolute slew of topics today. You guys ready to jump into it?
Please.
Go for it.
It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quinn Hillyer is with us. Left-leaning Ellis Henican. The program always brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, home of Lamarck Ford, Lamarck Lincoln, and now the legendary Ford truck dealership in the city, Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway, under the Lamarck umbrella. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. And now, Lamarck Crescent City Ford. All right, guys, I guess the first topic, we might as well get on this. I think this is absolutely insane. I'm going to start with you, actually, Ellis. As a liberal guy, as a left-leaning guy, the Democrat Party, this kind of stuff just has to burn you up. It's in your own city, New York, right in front of City Hall. I believe. Now, this doesn't matter if it's wrong, but if it's right, it matters. The statue's been there 187 years, since 1837. They took the Thomas Jefferson statue down, that guy, and they said participated in systemic crimes against indigenous people and or other crimes against humanity. I guess they forgot the co-author of the Constitution and the author of the Declaration of Independence, third president part, right?
Yeah, I think Jefferson did some good things. You know, it's an interesting question, I think, how we deal with historical figures who, by the light of today, engaged in things that are indefensible. I mean, to me, Jefferson's an easy one. I mean, he would be very low on my list of people I would want to topple the statue of. It's come up, of course, as you know, so much more in these segregationists and Civil War generals. And I got to tell you, if I were an African-American citizen of New Orleans and every day I had to drive past Robert E. Lee Circle and have to look at a white supremacy statue down the block and drive on Jefferson Davis Parkway, I might have a tough time explaining to my children why it is we ought to be revering these figures. And I know nobody is all bad and all good, and even people who've done horrible things often do some good things. And I don't think we need to sanitize every part of history, but I'm also, Corey, not in the camp that says Mussolini let the trains run well, Hitler had his advantages, and some horrible segregationist was nice to his children, and therefore we can't question history. We've got to make history a living thing, and we've got to continue to have judgments about it today.
Quinn?
I would say that the move to tear down statues, monuments, etc., has been much too aggressive. I also, though, agree with Ellis that you do have to use some judgment and that some things do need to come down. I have advocated for, or did advocate for, and now they're doing it, changing the names of U.S. military bases that were named after Confederate generals. It doesn't make any sense to have a military base named after someone who waged war against the United States.
No.
So to me, that's an easy call. The Jefferson thing is an easy call on the other side. You don't tear down Jefferson. If I have to explain that, then you're historically illiterate anyway. So it would take long to explain than I have time for on the show.
There hadn't been like an uproar in New York over that, Ellis? It just seems crazy from Democrats.
Everybody thinks it's pretty stupid, and I don't think there's going to be a great move to change the name of Washington, D.C., or tear down the Jefferson Memorial, or, it's pretty fringe stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, Abraham Lincoln's been mentioned. I mean, that just seems a little too crazy for me. There's
a lot of names I would go for before I go for that one. Let me put it like that.
I think they call it presentism, where we're using today's standards, ethics, morals, integrity, whatever, and judging people from a time that was very, very, very much different. Hey, guys, hang on real quick. I've got to take this 16 after the hour break, 4:16 break. Coming down the tracks, it's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Corey Johnson with you. A wide open Wednesday. Got so much to discuss with these two guys. If I were you, I wouldn't go anywhere. New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
As New Orleans as a roast beef po' boy.
Making groceries.
You know, if it's a weekday afternoon in New Orleans, it's got to be Corey Johnson.
Oh boy, I'm going to have to take him out back and sedate him with a trough of guava daiquiris.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson in Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. Also on Spectrum Channel 333 in Slidell, Covington, Mandeville, Hammond, Homa, and more.
You shut it!
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Jeez, that's a long-winded intro, my God. We'll take another commercial break. Coming right back after that. Wow. It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Yeah, guys, I apologize. Ellis texting me during the break, is this a new story? I see clips from 2021. Yeah, I don't know how I got this confused with today, and now I'm trying to find out the significance of it today. So I apologize, Ellis. I thought this was recently removed. It's actually removed from a few years ago, but there must be a story out there recently about it either going back up or something replacing it. So I apologize, Ellis.
No, Corey, not at all. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I have to say, I was just embarrassed because I didn't know about it when you brought it up. I'm like, I'm supposed to know what's going on in New York.
No, it's a boomerang. The embarrassment came from me, went around you, and is back to me again. My embarrassment. Oh, boy. Anyway, good. We can move on from that. Hey, I don't necessarily agree with politicians on Twitter saying things as provocative as we need to hit targets inside of Iran. But they are right? Don't we need to hit targets inside of Iran? And if so, how do we do that without starting a war, Quinn?
Well, just so happens that my colleague at the Washington Examiner, Tom Rogan, has a very good column on that. Tom is our defense and foreign policy expert, and I trust his judgment very, very much. Look, I would not have thought to actually strike inside Iran, but he says limited, targeted, but very, well chosen targets that can really hurt Iran are possible and would send exactly the right message. He says if you do it in a targeted enough way, it's not going to start a war, but it will teach them a lesson. So I don't know. I would think going after the places, the insurgents or whatever you call them that actually fired the missiles, even though they are Iranian puppets, I would think going after the people that actually fired it would be the first start, and you just wipe them off the face of the earth. But, maybe you do go after the puppet master and not just the puppet. I'm not sure.
It really is a tough one. It's not easy, is it, Ellis?
Well, I think Quinn's instincts on this may be better than Tom's. I would add one word to his limited and targeted. I would say graduated. Start with the smaller stuff. Maybe that'll work, because clearly we do not want to go to war with Iran. I think, thankfully, Iran does not want to go to war with us. But we got to stop this. I mean, the shipping lanes have got to remain open. International trade is very important. U.S. troops can't be attacked by enemy drones, and you got to respond. But you got to do it. I'd say you start small and you get bigger from there.
Let me just say that I do urge everybody to Google Washington Examiner and Tom Rogan and see the arguments that he makes, because the thing that Alice just said that's very right. I mean, most of it I agree with, but what's very right is Iran does not actually want a war with us. And so that's why we can probably get away from hurting them inside their borders if it's targeted well enough without starting another war, but we can teach them a lesson. That's what Tom argues. It's worth looking into.
So many H's on the program today. Hillyer, Henican. I'm going to pause before I go into Houthi, Hezbollah, and Hamas. I don't want to associate you guys with those guys. But Iran and the Triple H, it's like proxy war, Ellis. I mean, I'm trying to keep up, Houthis, Yemen, and Hezbollah's Lebanon, and Hamas is Syria, and they're all Iran kind of proxies. They're all Iran, fully funded from Iran, Iran's little mercenary kind of armies, right?
Well, I think that is correct. But we got to remember what has sparked all of this, and it really is the war in Gaza that has begun to spread out from there. And not only does it provide the aggressive activity, but it gives a kind of ideological cover to those militants around the region who wish us harm. We've got to get Israel to a point where we can make some kind of settlement there. I mean, that war can't go on forever. The impact on the civilians in the Gaza Strip has been horrific and, frankly, indefensible at this point, even as someone as I am, who sympathizes with Israel and certainly thinks Israel needed to respond about what happened in October. But we got to bring this thing to an end, and soon. We got to get those hostages back. We got to get that war stopped, and that's what will make all of these other ancillary aggressions calm down a little bit.
I'm not sure that they will make the ancillary ones calm down, and I don't know how you tell Israel to stop when there's still more than 60% of Hamas's forces are still, alive and kicking. This is not an easy thing. It took us nearly 2 years to clear out Mosul when we were fighting ISIS, and Gaza is bigger than the city of Mosul was. So, if it took us that long, why shouldn't Israel have enough time to go after the people that continually threaten it? I don't know how you tell them to stop.
I think you've got to, Quinn. I mean, they've handled it so terribly, right? I mean, first of all, they do not seem to be getting anywhere near their goal of eliminating Hamas. Sympathetic goal. It sure would be nice. It ain't going to happen. What they have done is alienated themselves from so many of their potential supporters around the world. I think that as long as the Netanyahu government is in power in Israel, this thing is not going to be solved. There is no commitment to the two-state solution that really is the only ultimate answer here. And the civilian casualties, I mean, they're very disturbing. The whole world is riled up over, and Israel has to behave properly, even if they have a sympathetic cause to start with.
Now, let me tell you, the regimes in Jordan and Egypt can't say this, but you can't say this aloud or in public, but they are very happy that Israel is doing what it's doing right now, because they don't like Hamas either. In fact, they didn't even like the Palestinian Authority, the former terrorist PLO. Israel is not actually necessarily making any more enemies. It's riling up enemies that it already has, but it's not making new ones. And a lot of the Arab regimes are very happy that Israel is doing this. It's getting terrorists out of their hair, and it's, in my mind, justified.
Well, Quinn, Hamas is terrible. I mean, we all wish they would go away tomorrow. But you don't think that this war has made people in Europe and people across Asia? In fact, half of the United States is becoming very, very frustrated with the behavior of Israel. They certainly have begun to isolate themselves from the rest of the world based on their behavior over the past several months. That seems inarguable to me.
I think all it has done is give an excuse to anti-Semites to speak up and show their true colors. I don't think it's made any more enemies. I don't think it's made any more detractors. I think it's just brought them out into the open.
Quinn, Ellis brought up Netanyahu. No two-state solution for him. I just don't see how Palestinians and Israelis or Jews can live there together if it's not two-state.
Well, look, Israel has, in effect, offered the two-state solution for decades. Clinton thought he had an agreement between Israel and Arafat.
Oh, no, there are definite times where it was very close, but Netanyahu's always been against that.
But it was not Israel that reneged. It was, and Bill Clinton himself said, Arafat took the deal and then double-crossed him and started what was called an intifada, and they started attacking Israel again. How many times over how many decades does Israel have to trade land for peace only to be given no more peace? I mean, it just
that's
doesn't
the
make
trap,
sense.
Quinn, that's the trap. I mean, these ancient hatreds go back forever. Neither one of these organizations can be in charge. Hamas has got to be booted out of governing Gaza, and Netanyahu has got to be booted out of governing Israel. Neither of them want peace, and we need peace. The civilians in this area have a right to peace. Netanyahu has been a highly aggressive leader of Israel. He's not trading land for peace. He's taking land and causing war.
Hey, guys, hang on 1 second. We got our 32 after the hour break train coming down the tracks. It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Corey Johnson with you. A wide open Wednesday. A lot more to discuss. Coming right back.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process, of a custom-made piece. I have a test that says if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
As New Orleans as the mighty Mississippi, Corey Johnson.
The old miss, the old man, river.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Corey Johnson back at you, wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Hey, with that break rolling down the tracks, either one of you guys wanted to finish up before we move on to another topic?
Yeah, I just wanted to defend Netanyahu. This is Quinn. To say that he's a warmonger actually goes against the record. This is the guy who painstakingly forged alliances in the Arab world for the very first time ever, and crafted the Abraham Accords with five nations, after also building up better friendships with Jordan, even though it's not formal, and with Egypt and with Saudi Arabia. So this is a guy who has gotten Israel more accepted in the Middle East than anybody in Israel's history. That's not war making, that's peacemaking.
Well, the only thing I would add to that is look where Israel is today. They're in a bad place. There are inflamed neighbors around them. There's no easy path out of the war that they're in. They're blamed around the world for the deaths of tens of thousands of civilians, many of whom are women and children. And I think we're further from a two-state solution than we have been in years. And, I don't see who you can blame but Netanyahu. I come back to we need new leadership on both sides. Hamas has got to give up power in Gaza, and it's time for new government in Israel.
Quinn, I would say this, just four things that jump out at me. The protests pre-war, for months, hundreds of thousands of Jews on the streets that were against Netanyahu and the extreme, kind of de-emphasizing the judiciary, emphasizing the legislative branch that he controls. Anti-two-state has always been that way. He's never going to change. And that, I think there's too many Israelis that are pro-two-state. The corruption, the corruption and future trials that he has to deal with. And then I think a lot of Israelis blame him for October 7th. Like, how could you let this happen? You're supposed to be this hawk, and you let guys come in on hang gliders and bicycles and motorcycles over the border. What? So I don't know how Netanyahu overcomes all of that.
The last point is the best one that you made, and I'll leave the others for another day because we got other things to talk about.
Yep. Hey, Quinn, real quick. And Ellis, I want you to comment on this too. I'm for a two-state solution. But when the Israelis, and you got to give them credit how, they take care of business. They go into this hospital. They kill these 3 Hamas terrorists. And then I see like hundreds of people on the street with those terrorists on stretchers getting marched through the street like it's a funeral for this trio on a public street. In no matter, I know it's a bombed out area at that point, but this was the West Bank, not Gaza, and it's shocking to me how pro-Hamas, or at the very least, how many Hamas folks are in power and in overwhelming numbers. I don't know how you can have two-state solution when I see something like that. I'm watching in awe of the hospital raid, and then I'm in equal awe of, my God, look at the hundreds of people in the street and this funeral with this trio getting carried down the street like they're martyrs, they're heroes. Quinn?
That's one reason why the idea of a two-state solution is looking less like the best way to go. I would actually argue that for any time in the foreseeable future, Gaza at least, and maybe the West Bank, but definitely Gaza, should be put back under a UN protectorate. And Israel should not rule it, and certainly Hamas should not rule it. The Palestinian Authority should not rule it. You put it under international protectorate, just like it was for decades and decades before Israel was created as a state. That's my solution. Forget the two-state thing. It's not going to work.
Ellis?
Well, in the end, no people want to be ruled by other people. And somehow or another, we got to find a way for Israel to have its own secure state and for the Palestinian people to have the same rights that people all around the world have. And that's to control their own destiny and to run their own state and not be under anybody's boot. I don't see how you ever get peace until you get there, Quinn.
It just seems like you have so many Palestinians and so many Jews that do not want to work with the other side at all. They just don't. They're against the other side.
No, you need a new mindset in the region, which is part of why I say it requires abandoning ancient hatreds on both sides and requires fresh leadership on both sides. People who are committed to this idea. Is it easy? Of course not. But I got to tell you, I still haven't heard anything that seems more likely to work.
Hey, guys, breaking news. It's absolutely incredible. Shocking, but really incredible. Biden is out. Gavin Newsom is in. Trump is out. Sununu is in. I also was walking down the street and they were loading a piano up into a penthouse and the rope broke like in a cartoon. And I got hit in the head by the piano on the way into work. But wouldn't that be nice? Trump, Biden's inevitable, right, guys? Any shot, one or both, not on the ticket come November?
Yeah, I just read a column that said while it's a very long shot for Nikki Haley to get the nomination away from Trump, it's still possible. I explained why. But I think the more likely scenario is a serious third-party candidacy or independent candidacy. You've got longtime Democratic pollster Mark Penn saying that it's a real possibility this time that it could actually have a chance. You have James Carville saying that an independent candidacy is going to get an effing number of votes. You have Republican consultants saying much the same thing. You could have a serious independent bid like Ross Perot was before Ross Perot showed everybody how nuts he was. And people forget Ross Perot in June of 1992 was leading by far ahead of both George Bush, the elder, and Bill Clinton. He was at 38. Bush was at 31, Clinton was at 25, and there were fewer independents then than there are now. I think a third party is very much in the offing.
Quinn, all I've got to say about that, there's a huge sucking sound coming out of Mexico. What about Biden dropping out? Isn't that a better chance than third party?
Ellis is our resident expert on the Democratic Party. Tell us, Ellis.
Well, listen, we've all been around politics long enough to know that it is a mistake to say something can't happen.
Yep.
You're looking many months ahead,
and
particularly when you've got a demographic age chart in one hand and looking at the age of the two leading candidates and the criminal prospects of at least one of them. I mean, stuff can happen. I'm with Quinn that it's still quite a long shot. Listen, there is some appeal to third-party candidates. The problem is that the real-life result, it seems like it's always really a question of who you're going to spoil. And Ross Perot's rapid decline in the polls there indicates that third-party candidates in our system today end up being spoilers. They don't end up being presidents. And depending on whose votes they're pulling, they have a dangerous possibility of pulling the election in a direction that you really don't want it to go.
Yeah, the losers don't like Perot and Nader, Quinn.
Look, let me remind people about the Perot thing, and I was no fan of his, but as I said, he was in first place in the polls as late as June. Then he started talking crazy talk.
He started talking.
And then he literally announced that he was pulling out of the race for it ended up being about 6 weeks. And then when he got back in the race, he sounded even crazier, accusing Bush's operatives of disrupting.
And then he got his grandfather to be vice president with him. The VP candidate.
He did everything wrong, and he still got 19% of the vote. So if you get somebody that jumps in like he did and makes it a close three-way race, but then doesn't do crazy talk and doesn't actually pull out of the race for 6 weeks, you don't think that they could stay with these two old geezers? I do.
Sounds to me like a spoiler.
Yeah. Yep. It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Guys, the topics, they just don't stop when we come back. The border crisis. I'm loving all this Title IV of the Constitution stuff that everybody's spouting off. Read Title IV of the Constitution. Enemy invaders. I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's a wartime type of thing, or an actual enemy invading. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll break it down with Quinn and Ellis next.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Welcome back. Corey Johnson with you. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quinn Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican are with us. Hey, Ellis, the border crisis, enemy invaders, this Title IV of the Constitution. I don't know. There's a border crisis. I don't know why folks have to always take things to another level. But anyway, Governor Abbott has taken it to another level, breaking the law, doing what's right. Lots of states are backing him. Some states aren't. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like that ugly, personal, hostile talk. I don't think we need to turn needy human beings into vicious animals in order to rile up the dumb people out there. And there's clearly an audience for that kind of talk, but I'm not interested in engaging in it. I do think there's a crisis. I mean, an awful lot of people are trying to get over more than we can reasonably absorb. I do always like to remind people that this nation needs immigrants. Our economy desperately needs more workers. Our Social Security system needs to be propped up with the efforts of new immigrants. So we got to come up with a system, a better system, to get this thing done in an orderly and legal fashion. That's why it's so frustrating to me to see what's going on in Congress. Right? Let's try to solve this thing. There's a bipartisan deal that's being negotiated right now in the Senate, and yet Donald Trump doesn't like it. So Republican politicians have decided they can't possibly support it. They'd rather have no solution than a good compromise that would actually make things better. That's terrible, I think.
Hey, Quinn, comment on that and start off with the Title IV of the Constitution. Has nothing to do with this, right?
Title IV probably has nothing to do with this. The solution is easy. After you've already let in 19 million people, you close the border. You've already had your compromise. You've already said that 2.5 million people in the last 3 years who have gotten in have been released into the country without anything other than the honor system for them to report back in. And so if you want your guest workers, you've already let them in illegally. So the answer is you stop the flow into the country. Once you stop the flow into the country, if you want to start talking compromise again, then you start talking compromise. But until you do, you stop the flow, you say no, and you get this thing under control, which, by the way, will also stop a humanitarian crisis, which is of Joe Biden's own making.
In the last 48 hours, Quinn, hasn't Joe Biden said, give me the green light and I will shut down the border?
Lord knows what he said in the last 48 hours. It's tough to keep up with his babblings.
It's true.
I mean,
in order to do that, right? I mean, there's some things that have to happen. We need more personnel at the border. We need administrative judges who can deal with those cases and try and ease those backlogs that you sound so frustrated about. And this plan that's coming out of the Senate does all of that stuff. It's a much more conservative plan than I would like. But I think we're at a place where Republicans in Congress right now, led by former President Trump, have decided it's better not to solve the problem, and it gives them some political advantage in November to have things be as horrible as they possibly can be. I think we got to solve this. I don't think we can afford to wait another 9 months for some cheap political advantage.
You don't need a compromise to do the job. You've got all the laws you need to do the job that needs doing. If you say you're going to real estate remain in Mexico, if you say that you're going to actually stop and interdict people at the border and send them back, then you do it. You say the blinking neon welcome sign is no longer up, and they don't come.
Quinn, Republicans don't want to solve this problem. They don't want to solve it.
No, the problem.
They don't want to solve it.
The problem was caused by Biden's own policies. Biden and Kamala Harris, who was supposed to be the czar on this, and by Mayorkas, who Republicans are wrongly impeaching, but he has been totally derelict in his duty and then lied about it. This was a problem that was, after Trump screwed up the first 3 years, his administration combined with COVID got it under control. And it was manageable. As soon as Joe Biden came in, the crisis began again at the worst levels we've ever seen it. This has nothing to do with Republicans not wanting to solve it.
Hey, guys, real quickly, because we've got just about a minute. It's sort of a catch-22 in Louisiana, this LNG industry. You have some conservative outdoorsmen that are against it, worried about the coast and pollution and the like, and then you have many people that are like, "My God, this is such an industry, and it's the future, and it's sending natural gas to Europe and Asia and from Louisiana and not Russia." I think Biden's temporarily shutting down the construction of these LNG facilities in Louisiana right now, Quinn.
And he's got lots and lots of Democrats, including current senators, who are furious at Biden about this. And my publication, the Washington Examiner, just in the last 30 minutes put up a piece where Mary Landrieu of Louisiana is really angry at Biden for this and says, quote, "This move by Biden is like throwing a match in a bale of hay."
Ellis, final thoughts?
Well, listen, I'm for all forms of energy. You got to have them all. We got to be supporting wind energy. We got to be supporting solar energy. You do have to have responsible drilling out there. We got to make sure this LNG is safe and that it's not destroying our coast, which is really very precious and very fragile. But in the end, the answer is to find solutions so we take advantage of all of these things.
Henican.com online, Henican.com, QuinnHillyer.com, Quinn with one N, QuinnHillyer.com. Boys, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Troy. As always, thank you.
Yep, that's Quinn Hillyer and Ellis Henican, another edition of Hillyer and Henican. That's Blue Boy saying stick around.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Stella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. Then we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
From her hit Broadway show, Joan Rivers. Representing HBO Series, Chris and then John Mulready.
Sounds like Hollywood Squares to me.
Anthony Newley. From the Northwest corner. Coming video, Quinn Hillyer, Richard Simmons.
Where's Paul Lynn?
There's the baseball Gold Glove winner, Steve Garvey. From TV's Young and the Restless, Tom Beard. From the comedy stage, Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker.
I'm Jano Stevens. We are the new
Richard Simmons. Paul Lynn was funny. YouTube Paul Lynn on Hollywood Square. Drew Brees would be a good, game show participant. He's such an affable, nice guy. He's like, I tweeted something a few weeks ago about Brees and Sean Payton. I was like, Brees was like Opie from Mayberry, and Sean Payton was looking to go to the bar and drink some Budweisers and shoot the you-know-what with you. Just opposites. I mean, Sean Payton wasn't the drunk guy in Mayberry. Who was the drunk in Mayberry? He was great. Otis? He was what a great character. Every town has a drunk. It's Mayberry. Corey Johnson with you, wide open Wednesday edition of the program. This isn't a good situation, I would say, generally speaking. Just kind of my general thoughts. The Louisiana Oil and Gas Association issued a statement on Ben Bienvenu's appointment as Commissioner of Conservation. Commissioner of Conservation. It's part of the Department of Energy and Natural Resources. Their mission statement is to ensure and promote sustainable and responsible use of the natural resources of our state, so that they're available for the enjoyment and benefit of our citizens now and in the future. The Louisiana Oil and Gas Association issuing a statement on the appointment. First of all, I'd like to commend Governor Landry on yet another astounding appointment. The governor continues to hit it out of the park on every cabinet appointment thus far. The Office of Conservation plays a vital role in our state's oil and gas industry. So it was crucial that we get this right. And I fully believe that's what Governor Landry has done with this appointment. Ben Bienvenu has vast exploration and production knowledge from all segments, from drilling wells in the fields, in a field foreman's role for Phillips in the Arklatex, to learning the offshore shelf play at Chevron, to strategic planning for Murphy's deep water team, to regional manager for Gulfport's inland waters property, to operating a small oil and gas company of his own. Ben is well equipped with experience in every facet of Louisiana's oil and gas footprint. Ben and I spoke at length today about this tremendous opportunity, along with many of his ideas to make Louisiana an attractive place to do business again. We look forward to working with him in the coming years. That's from the president of the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. So essentially, the Department of Environmental Quality, it's actually not under DEQ, I apologize. It's under the Department of Energy and Natural Resources. It is under that department. No, you don't want an oil and gas person necessarily in that spot. And you don't want some tree hugger that we're trying to save the owl and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about capitalism and the economy. You need someone that, it's not like balancing both, to be honest with you. If anything, it leans more towards the tree hugger thing. Have an oil and gas commission if you want. But all these appointments are very pro-oil and gas, pro-drilling, Department of Environmental Quality. It's not the Department of Oil and Gas. I mean, we already have a problem in Louisiana, without a doubt, with John Bell Edwards, a liberal Democrat, a blue dog Democrat, but a Democrat nonetheless as governor. And whoever else you want as governor. I'm going blank on Kathleen Blanco, Mike Foster. I don't care who it is. The Department of Environmental Quality in Louisiana sucks. The oil and gas industry and the chemical industry rule the state already. There are no rules or regulations that Louisiana is putting into play that's hampering the oil and gas or the chemical industry's growth. If anything, it's like we want to break the rules even more blatantly. We want to pollute even more. And Jeff Landry and his jokers are more than happy to do it. They don't care. They think like man can't influence the planet. I mean, Jeff Landry clearly doesn't believe in any kind of global warming, climate change, doesn't believe man can influence the planet. I mean, that's one thing that normal people in South Louisiana know, liberals and conservatives. Liberals in South Louisiana are pro-drilling. And conservatives in Louisiana know that man can influence the planet. These hunters and fishermen that are hyper right-wing, they've seen chunks of land float out in the Gulf. They remember when they were a kid, we used to hunt on this land. Now it's open water. Grandpa talked about it going 10 miles out. All it's done is shrink and disappear. So no, normal, rational people in Louisiana, Democrats are pro-drilling. Conservatives know man can influence the planet. Jeff Landry honestly doesn't want to believe it, chooses not to believe it, knows enough people in Louisiana will back his play. So, I mean, this is pretty easy for me. I use the federal level because it's a more obvious examples. Department of Defense, I want a military guy, a general, someone with war experience, someone that knows about other militaries and the enemy, how to fight the enemy, how to win, how to avoid war. I want a military guy running the military, the Department of Defense. DEQ, or at a federal level, it'd be EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, protecting the environment so we don't ruin the environment we live in. I want an environmentalist running the EPA, not someone from like the oil and gas industry. It makes no sense. But in Louisiana, first off, we don't care that we pollute. We don't give a crap. You would have to bathe in like some tanker car of something where the next day you felt like crap and in a week you died. You know, like something like Chernobyl, radiation poisoning. It would have to be that overt and blatant for us to be like, wow. But Cancer Alley and just dirty water and air, we know it happens. We just don't care. We're like, you know, it's like Bourbon Street when I'm like, reimagine Bourbon Street. It's the toilet of New Orleans. That southern Mississippi River corridor, especially in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, it is the toilet of America. It's just a bunch of not very few local. It's all not even regional. It's national and international conglomerates, huge companies, BASF and, you know, all these different French-owned, European-owned, Asian-owned, all these huge companies producing, you know, fertilizer and chemicals. It's all done in Louisiana on the Mississippi River in Cancer Alley. And we know that they, you know, when the conditions are right, let the smokestack open, full bore. Conditions are right, just pour it in that stream, dump it in the river. And then if they do get caught, it's a slap on the wrist. It doesn't mean anything. It's wink, wink, nod, nod, and I'll meet you at the Ruth's Chris on College Drive for lunch on me. No, DEQ in Louisiana is pathetically weak to begin with. The only governor that really was trying to do anything with that department was Buddy Roemer 40 years ago almost, 35 plus years ago, and I'm not kidding you. So liberal Democrats have been terrible at it. Conservative Republicans have basically not cared about it. Now you have a Jeff Landry that's like essentially saying, let's pollute the water and the air more. It's not about follow the rules and, hey, let's be pro-drilling and get the oil and gas and chemical industry moving. There's nothing hampering it in Louisiana. There's nothing Jeff Landry's going to do that's going to get that industry going more unless it's, hey, guys, you're already breaking the rules and polluting. We'll allow you to do more of it. Just hire a few people. I don't know what the selling point is, but it's not good. It's not good for the citizens in Louisiana that have to breathe the air, drink the water, live on the land. Jeez, it's already broken. Anyone think I'm wrong on that? That it's DEQ's already ineffective? It's only going to get worse. Anyone doubt this logic? Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday. Yeah, you right. Don't go anywhere. Thank you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
It is a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. Rouse's Markets phone lines 766-9480. 766-9480. 2 weeks from today, Valentine's Day, guys. 2 weeks from today. No excuses. Dude, Mardi Gras was Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, Valentine's Day. Got confused, honey. Sorry. I don't know. You want to go that route, that brainless, clueless route, and just go to the doghouse? You do it. I would go to the Woodhouse Day Spa and get her a gift card, a day of relaxation, because that's what she wants. She wants to go to the Woodhouse Day Spa. If I were you, I'd get with your buddy, where your buddy's wife and your wife, they're friends. Y'all both get them the day of relaxation gift card. They go together as friends. They love it. I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away, and just in time. 2 weeks from today, Valentine's Day, guys. Don't blow it. I've got some easy ones. These would be called layups. Layups in basketball. Unattested layup. Although, Joe, on a 10-foot goal, I bet you I couldn't go 10 for 10 on layups. I'd probably miss one, sadly. Unattested miss one. The Plaza Tower office building, the black and white monstrosity that sits alone, abandoned, right there on Loyola and Howard Avenue. It's got the netting on the top because pieces of the building were falling off. When it opened in the late 60s, an office building, the top 2 or 3 floors weren't office space. What made that building unique? Those top few floors weren't office space. What made it unique? Give me the answer to that. I've got 50 big bucks. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. $50. Significant. Rouse's Markets phone lines 766-9480. 766-9480. Who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? The voodoo queen of New Orleans. It is not LaToya Cantrell putting an evil spell on us. That is incorrect. The voodoo queen of New Orleans. The voodoo queen of New Orleans, 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. The main character in Confederacy of Dunces. That almost seems like that should be required reading in New Orleans public schools. The main character in Confederacy of Dunces. You got the answer to any of those 3 trivia questions? I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa, one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. As expected, I don't think anybody was expecting anything different. Jeff Landry going hardcore, kind of wacky right in appointments to key positions. I think a lot of conservatives just don't mind. They don't care. You know, I don't have that luxury. I can't play it like, well, I can't play it extreme left or extreme right just because I don't live that way. I'm an independent. I just happen to how I'm built. But I have empathy. I look at the other side. I try to weigh out, best case scenarios and the like. It's just like the fracking thing. It would be hard to find people on the North Shore, say Mandeville or Covington, against fracking. Drill, baby, drill. Can I get a Sarah Palin T-shirt? Oh, I can see Russia from my balcony. Drill, baby, drill. They love it. Drill, baby, drill. I'm a conservative. Drilling's safe. We drill. Let's drill. Quit complaining about oil spills and, you could wreck the water table and all this crap. Just drill. We've been doing it. It's safe. We need the oil drill. Hey, we're thinking of doing some fracking in Mandeville. Oh, hold on a second. I mean, it was like no Depends on the shelves in Mandeville stores after that announcement. People just pooping in their pants over on the North Shore. Whoa! Yeah, I'm drill, baby, drill. So you want to drill in Mandeville? No. The fracking could pollute the water table. On and on and on and on. No, Mandeville, Covington, folks, drill, baby, drill. Hyper right. And then, hey, let's drill in Mandeville. Whoa, put on the brakes there. Hey, how do I become a hyper-liberal conservationist all of a sudden? I'm a tree hugger. No, you can't drill in Mandeville. You could hurt our aquifer. Fracking's not, it's an inaccurate science. No, it's mind-blowing. No, I'm not built that way. I try to look at things fairly and objectively and have empathy, understand the other person's point of view, not attack them. Oh, wow, something different. I don't understand. Attack! I don't know. I grew up from being a child to an adult, and I'm like, let me think through things. When I was a kid, wow, look at the long hair on that guy. Look at the tattoos. Look at the piercings. Look at that dyed hair. Look at that outfit. That person looks different. Yeah, you're 12, Corey. You're seeing new things in life. Wow, then you meet these people, and wow, not a whole lot different from you. Maybe just appearance, and they like tattoos or piercings or long hair or short hair or whatever you don't like, whatever you're not used to. That's how you're going to judge people? No, thank God. I mean, I'm blessed. I was fortunate. I was raised right. Not carrying around that sack of brick, that baggage of like women are inferior, homosexual this, or black that, Asian, Latino, none of that crap. And I'm white, male, heterosexual. I know the skids are grease for me. I get it. I embrace it. I understand it. But I also understand how the other side thinks a little bit, or try to act humanely. It's just anyone who sits there and just like, I'm glad Landry is appointing the oil and gas guy in a position that's about conservation in our state. Well, then I don't know. I feel sorry for you, because you would be thinking that Louisiana is overregulated, that we have too many rules and regulations for the oil and gas industry and the chemical industry, coupled with we are fierce enforcers of these over-the-top rules and regulations. And that's just not the case. Who would believe that? The inmates run the asylum, the oil and gas industry, the chemical industry, they run things. They pollute right now like crazy. There's a reason there's a part of Louisiana in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge known as Cancer Alley. It's not a joke. It's not, hey, let's just do this. There's nothing to it. I mean, I don't know about you, but you get off at the Gonzales 177 exit. You're kind of going, for a lot of folks, oh, you mean the back door to Tiger Stadium? Yeah, that exit. Geismar. I don't know, that gypsum pile. You ever seen this thing, Joe? This gypsum pile? You can Google it if you'd like. Google gypsum pile in Louisiana. It's not believable. It's not believable. I think you could, if I had to guess, I mean, at its peak, I mean, the Superdome's 27 stories tall, so it's not that tall. But I would say at the peak of the gypsum pile, we used to ride our mountain bikes on it when I was at LSU. So this gypsum pile has been around, Joe, for 35 years, and it only gets bigger. It's the byproduct of making like sheetrock from sulfur and things, I believe.
300 acres by 200 feet high.
So it's 20 stories tall.
Yeah.
It's 200 feet tall. Mount Driscoll in North Louisiana is like, let's see, One Shell Square is 596. I think Mount Driscoll's like, I don't think Mount Driscoll's as tall as One Shell Square. Maybe it is. How tall is Mount Driscoll, Joe? It's in the hundreds. It's not like 1,000 feet. It's the highest point in Louisiana, up in North Louisiana. It's like 750 feet, 752, something like that. I think One Shell Square is 796. Mount Driscoll's like what,
535 feet above.
530 feet, Mount Driscoll. My God, it's shorter than One Shell Square by like 200 feet. Wow. And the gypsum pile's 200 and something feet. Wow, Joe. Couldn't hit the
I just thought it was
Mute
the gypsum
button.
pile messing with you.
Maybe it was. The old gypsum got me sneezing. Maybe so. From subconsciously, when we're riding on, I'm tailing the guy behind me. I'm going through a gypsum dust pile. Gypsum, I think, by itself is not toxic. That's why I shouldn't say that's why that pile sits there. It could be plutonium in Louisiana. It would just be sitting there maybe. No, but I think what happens is when it flows into like rivers, streams, waterways, it creates a big bloom on the top. It takes the oxygen out the water. It kills fish.
Yeah, the NOLA.com article says acid water atop slumping Uncle Sam gypsum pile threatens swamps.
Well, yeah, the levee surrounding it was about to break. I think they reinforced it. And they keep on piling the gypsum up there. They're like cranes and bulldozers and stuff on top of this pile. It's huge. I would say, the Superdome roof is 10 acres. What did you say it was, Joe? Like 200 and what by what?
Let's say it's a 960 acre lake.
960 acres.
Yep, and 200 feet high.
It's not a lake.
Well, that was the Guardians thing. If there's a spill, it's a disaster. Living next to a giant lake of gypsum.
No, it's not a lake. It's just a giant dry pile of gypsum that at its peak is 200 feet. Now, all kidding aside, Joe, if I were Baton Rouge, because it's right there, I would reform it a little bit and then get some snow creating machines and open it up as a ski resort. You think I'm kidding? You can ski down it. It is that big. You could have a little lift line and you could have skiing in Louisiana and people would go. Man-made snow and you ski down the gypsum pile. We used to sneak in and ride our mountain bikes on this thing 30 years ago. No, it's giant. You drive by that, you can't have a good feeling about Louisiana. And, man, we care about the environment and the air and with the water, and we don't pollute. And the oil and gas and chemical industry, they're with us. I love the deal about the oil and gas industry is us. Your neighbor works there. Your neighbor works there. I know. Maybe your neighbor's growing like a third arm out of his hip because he works there. I don't know what to tell you, These chemical plants break the rules all the time, and Louisiana either looks the other way or when it's just so overt, like a big fish kill where citizens can tell that they're breaking the rules, DEQ slaps some, wrist slapping type fine, just a no big deal type of fine on them. And now you have this governor putting one of their own in these key departments that are designed to protect us. They're designed to protect the citizenry from the oil and gas industry and the chemical industry so they don't break the rules and pollute. If we go to step one, just the very basics, like what these chemical plants are allowed to discharge, I would think it's probably too much, like what we accept as an allowable amount. I would think just that to begin with is probably, if I had to guess, is too lenient. Let's pretend it's right. Step two, Louisiana is not enforcing it. Louisiana is not following it. Step three, the oil and gas and the chemical industry control it. Step four, they're going to do whatever they want. It's like the BP oil disaster. I remember, folks on the wacky right, BP doesn't want a disaster any more than we do. They're making money. They don't want to cut corn, blah, 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 blah. People on the left, my God, we've got to overregulate this. It's all they want to do is make profits. They'll do whatever they have to do to make profits, shut down the industry. Somewhere in the middle lies the truth. There needs to be regulations. You need outside objective people that have nothing to do with Halliburton, BP, none of them, being the regulators that come in and check it out. Because what BP did, do they want a disaster? Of course not. But they're like, dude, we've done these 10 different tests before. Let's not do this one. They never come up, positive. Let's skip it. Kaboom goes the dynamite and you have the disaster. So you need regulation. You don't need a shutdown, but you need regulations. In Louisiana, we don't regulate. We don't enforce. The oil and gas and chemical industry rule. And now we have a governor that's giving them one of their own to run DEQ and anything else. Anything to do with the environment or conservation. It's not environmentalists or conservationists or any of that. Who's the DEQ person? The rowing captain from the Ohio State rowing team, the 26-year-old girl. 26-year-old girl. She ran like the South Dakota Republican Party. She's very, set to control 800 employees and, take care of the hunting and fishing industry and all that in Louisiana. She's obviously qualified. She has a resume. She was captain of the rowing team at Ohio State. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Have you ever driven down the Grandbois Road between Lafourche and Terrebonne and past that chemical pit in between that's making that town just a ghost town?
Now, where is it exactly?
It's Grandbois, Louisiana. It's between Lafourche and there's the Grandbois shortcut, basically.
What road? What highway is it?
Highway 24.
Highway 24.
It's between Lafourche and Terrebonne, but you pass this giant dump.
What are the towns it's between?
Basically, it's Grandbois is the town.
What's like north and south of it?
You're between Houma and Matthews, that sort of area.
Oh, okay.
And Lafourche,
All
Rose, basically.
Okay, so I'm trying to think what 24 is. I know like 308 and 1 going down by you, Lafourche, like if you're going to Venice.
Yeah.
Going down from south of Raceland, going down to that direction.
Yeah, this one's basically from La Rose, and then it cuts down through to Houma. But between there's this horrible dump that I remember just passing by, and you could smell the battery smell, and the cancer rates are just out of control. But legally, those are within the limits.
No, exactly. I know. We whore it out in Louisiana. We're IMBY in my backyard. We don't get the clean white collar jobs downtown. We get the crappy blue collar jobs where it's dangerous. It's, like I said, it's sad. I mean, and we don't demand any better. And a lot of Republicans are happy with Landry's appointments. They think like, man, these Democrats, they've been hindering the oil and gas and the chemical industry, like handicapping them. They already break the rules. We already don't enforce these rules. And now it's just going to be worse. And and people justify because they're like, hey, if it creates jobs and makes money, we're all for it. If it kills people, if it's bad for our water, and I don't know what kind of disaster we have to have. We're overdue for like a rail disaster, oil and gas disaster on land. We already have a bunch of them, explosions and all kind of stuff at plants. No, it's sad. I don't want some hyper left wing tree hugger shuts down industry. I just don't want oil and gas people running the environmental stuff. That's all. That's the opposite. That's the opposite of the tree hugger. The person you want somewhere in the middle of the oil and gas guy and the tree hugger guy. The pro oil and gas guy, no matter what, and the tree hugger guy, you want in the middle to be your conservation, Department of Environmental Quality type people. Isn't that fair and commonsensical? But politics kick in, and extreme left and extreme right have no flexibility, and they either love or hate these types of things. Crazy. Hey, Latrim, it's 2024, guys. Tomorrow's February. New Year's resolution, man, I'm going to get out of that old job. I'm going to go to that latrim.com website Corey's always talking about. He says there's not just 2 or 3 job openings, but dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs, all different shifts, daytime, nighttime, overnight. They're hiring in Elmwood. They're hiring on the North Shore off I-12. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. It's a culture of innovation, and they're looking for you. It's January 31st, 2024. The new year has already come. We're a month in. New Year's resolution, new job. How about a new career? Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M for a full listing of positions available. Latrim.com.
Can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint
Supply.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
You're listening to The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Cotton Bowl winning coach Willie Fritz joining us on the program. Have you ever been part of a game that great?
A lot of things happen in the game. You just don't know the script. You got to adapt and improvise. You just got to keep playing hard the whole time. And our guys did an excellent job of that.
How big is yesterday for the overall future of the program?
You got to have a guy who really have a burning desire to get quality education and also be a great football player. You got to have focus.
You've always have embraced New Orleans. You've been a great ambassador for the city, for Tulane University.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. My wife and I just love it here in New Orleans. And just everybody, the city's just sensational. It was a dime for every person who came up to me after the game. I had tickets in the old Tulane Stadium. And, I've heard that a ton of times. And then, that's good that we're able to make some people happy.
That's Willie Fritz joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll wave.
The spirit of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
Whatever cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. Whatever cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. Whatever cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. Whatever cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
You know, if it's a weekday afternoon in New Orleans, it's got to be Corey Johnson.
You know, moving like a gator down Bourbon Street.
The vibe of the Crescent City, Corey Johnson.
You put Paris in the swamp, and that's New Orleans in a nutshell, baby.
That Saturday Night Live skit was pretty good. Did you ever check that out, Joe? Why don't you pull that up? That is pretty humorous. Some couple goes on, a trip to New Orleans for like the weekend, and then they come back to New York and they're having dinner with their friends, and they just were influenced. Now, Joe, all kidding aside, this is a true story. You go away to college, you come back for Christmas. So it's my freshman year of college. I'm back in New Orleans for the Christmas holidays. I'm at some bar, The Boot, Fat Harry, something. And some kid I know who went to like Ole Miss, all of a sudden he's talking like this. And we're like, what's wrong with, Jimmy or whatever? And finally, like, I'm like, everybody's like, well, dude, he went to Ole Miss. And I guess hanging around those guys, it influenced how he spoke. I'm like, what? So I pull him aside. I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, hey, Baron, how you been doing? He starts talking like a country guy. I'm like, what happened to your accent? He's like, oh, dude, I guess just going Ole Miss just got me talking like this, hanging around all these other guys. I'm like, dude, really? No, you're a Yatty New Orleanian, so snap out of it. Anyway, this Saturday Night Live skit kind of is that.
Nolans. You know, moving like a gator down Bourbon Street.
Blame Nolans.
Oh, no. No. Nolans? No.
When you've been to Nolans, the slow gets inside you and it sticks to your bones.
Like Nolans molasses.
I grew up in New Orleans, and I've never heard of Nolans molasses.
Have y'all been to Nolans?
He just said he was from there.
Yeah, you were there for 2 days.
Oh, my God, you've got to go to Nolans. It is filled with juicy jazz and squalling trumpets and tiny little crawdaddies.
You put Paris in the swamp, and that's New Orleans in a nutshell, baby.
Can we? Wow. It kind of just goes on and on like that. I love it. The guy's like, now I'm from New Orleans, and what are you talking about? They basically just keep pounding the point. Man, just that 2 days of influence just. Anyway, Nolans. I like that. He's like, no, it's New Orleans. He just totally pronounces it correctly. Oh, boy. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed another edition of Hillyer and Henican for the whole hour. Right-leaning Quinn Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican. We jumped on a slew of topics, a lot of topics. You might want to check it out. You can check that out on YouTube. I love getting these guys on. We talked about the border crisis and third party for president possibilities, Biden and Trump, and that inevitability, and Iran and Ukraine, and all kind of two-state Israel with Palestine, on and on. Boy, there is going to be some retaliatory strike against Iran in some form or fashion. All these little proxy armies that Iran has, the Houthis out of Yemen, the Hezbollah out of Lebanon, Hamas out of Syria. They fund them. They supply them with arms. So I'm sure we're going to hit, Houthi strongholds in Yemen and Hezbollah strongholds in Lebanon and Hamas strongholds in Syria. But I'm thinking we're going to hit some targets inside of Iran. But I guess there's a balance where it's like, how do we hit these targets, especially in Iran, and not start a war with Iran? Now, you remember we had a drone attack on that Iranian general. Killed that Iranian general. So, look, I don't know where that line of demarcation is, where the United States goes, we're going to war, or Iran says we're going to war. But I'm sure Joe Biden doesn't want to cross it, and I'm pretty sure Iran doesn't want to cross it. But it's getting right up against it. It's like, John Alario, the deviant criminal politician, kind of his greatest strength, knowing where that line of demarcation is. Oh, wow, y'all going to bust my chops for the 7 Series Beamer with donations? Okay, I'll get a Kia. Okay, no more Saints or LSU tickets. He hears it and he backs off, but he's always pushing the envelope. Now, the United States is going to retaliate after this outpost right on the Jordan, Syria, Iraq border got hit. 3 U.S. Army servicemen and 2 men and a woman killed. It's now up to like 50 injured. So there will be a retaliatory strike. I don't know when. President Biden already said it will happen and gave no timeline or any specifics on what, how, any of it. What's going to be hit, how they're going to do it, none of it. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning's been around since 1940. That's 84 years of excellence. A New Orleans institution. They've got walk-up locations. They've got free pickup and delivery, Homer Office, East Bank or West Bank. They have manless locker locations, dozens and dozens and dozens of those scattered all over Metro New Orleans, East Bank, West Bank, downtown New Orleans East. You dump off your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's locker. 2 short days later, pick it all up perfectly dry cleaned. To find out more about the best dry cleaner in the biz, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you on a Wednesday, another appointee. It's not good when the oil and gas industry in Louisiana has an announcement and they're fired up about the, appointee. The Louisiana Oil and Gas Association statement on Ben Bienvenu's appointment as Commissioner of Conservation. They just love the choice, and then they tout he's an oil and gas guy. How about a conservationist? I don't want an oil and gas guy, and I don't want some loony liberal tree hugger from up north that's, handcuffing themselves to a tree. I want someone in the middle. I don't want someone who's oil and gas, pro-oil and gas industry, go oil and gas as Department of Environmental Quality or Conservation. And I don't want someone that's anti-oil and gas industry. It's Louisiana. But my God, we already have a major problem with pollution, and now it's going to be exacerbated. I don't know what the thinking is. It doesn't affect my constituents. I don't get it. I don't know. I think there are a lot of conservative folks that don't have a lot of wherewithal in Louisiana. As my mom would say, Corey, you don't have 2 nickels to rub together. What are you doing getting that? And they live near these oil and gas chemical plants. They live on the water that's polluted. They're breathing the air. They're the ones suffering. And they love probably the choice. Because in their mind, they think like the liberals are hurting the oil and gas industry in Louisiana. The liberals are restricting the chemical industry when nothing could be farther than the truth. Democrat, Republican, liberal, or conservative. The oil and gas industry, the chemical industry, the inmates run the asylum. We sit back and let them do whatever they want. And now we have someone who's going to be even more blind to what they're doing. Hey, Lebanon's Cafe, open till 9:30. They're open 7 days a week. They crank it up at 11 a.m. You can get there early for lunch. They stay open throughout the day, and they go till 9:30 at night for dinner. Indoor dining, outdoor dining, to-go orders, lamb chop, shish kebab, some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Lebanon's Cafe.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
That's what I said.
Ooh, Leidenheimer. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's families, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Women are often throwing clothing items at me, saying you're the possessor of the cool factor. I have to fight off the ladies.
90 minutes of fun every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
Devastatingly handsome.
Thank you. Hey, I was talking to Lucas earlier today. Fair and honest Lucas. Fair and honest Lucas and the boys, River City's Total Maintenance. Hot, cold, air conditioning. I had the windows and the door open today. Today, what a glorious day. Incredible weather day today. Awesome. Hoping we get this weekend and somehow this rain forecast goes bye-bye with all the big parades cranking up. Anyway, I was talking to Fair and Honest Lucas today from River City's Total Maintenance. It doesn't matter. Weekday, weekend, holiday, overnight, whenever. If you need air conditioning or heat help, River City's Total Maintenance is there. 3 keys. Honest. Air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. Your AC or heat's not working, you want it fixed yesterday. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. That's River City's Total Maintenance. Easy to find them. NOLAAC.com. NOLAAC.com. River City's Total Maintenance. Air conditioning experts. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Hillyer and Henican joining us. Right-leaning Quinn, left-leaning Ellis. You can check that out right now on YouTube. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube every day, live and after the fact. See you tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, you right.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.